Good morning, good morning. Hello. Welcome back. Let's take a nice clearing breath with sound as we come into this space. And take a nice inhalation to the lower abdomen, engaging the deep diaphragmatic breath, and exhale. Yeah. Clearing breaths and that big exhale is a wonderful way to get rid of the deeper CO2, the carbon monoxide that's in our bodies that we don't often get out on that regular exhale. We get to take that deep breath in. In yoga, we call it the lion pose, where we'll go from often from a cat-cow position on all fours, hunching our back and coming straight out like the cow pose, and turn it right into the lion, where we go or the dragon, often sort of interchangeable with those two wordings. My name's Deborah O'Neill. I am the CEO and founder of blissbee.me, Integrative Holistic Health. I'm here to share because I care. I work with advanced integrative energy healing, work with the kinesiology, with kicking your limiting beliefs to the curb. And I also am a Himalayan yoga and meditation teacher and initiate of the lineage. I'm certified in sound healing. I've studied 3.5 years of, and still study with the essential oils in the professional series of the Healing Oil Collective. And I love my studies in shamanism. With all these, I bring them together to synthesize a healing environment in which I think and I believe is one of the best that supports you and your body and your movement forward to be the greatest that you can be and show up the best that you can be in your life. Thank you for being here. We're in episode 78. We have had a lot of learning. Thank you for participating and holding yourself accountable for your health, which is your wealth, and perhaps even opening greater curiosity to some of the things that have been brought up over the last 78 episodes. Thank you for being here with me in my emotional times. Thanks for supporting me as I do my best to support you. In your transparency and in my transparency as we move forward into the deeper work that is everyday work, because every day we have the opportunity to be in bliss. And so that means if we want to make that choice to live that joyful, euphoric life, then we need to be clear in how we move forward. We need to be in a position where we've opened up those gates and those gateways and opened up those areas and supported those energy centers and supported this biofield. It has to come from outside in our biofield that surrounds us, this energy bubble that we have. It's our signature before it gets into our physicality. You see, so when we have this knowledge, then we have an opportunity to sense, to know, to intuitively know and trust what we're sensing. We get to notice where those fractures are in our biofield, where that pain is, where that part of that inner child, or also called the unevolved consciousness of my beingness, somewhere that developmental stage of me was left behind. Makes sense, right? Each year of our growth, including embryo forward, and I believe backwards into previous lifetimes, as proven by a simple rat study of generations of rats who were unfortunately harmed generations ago, and each generation of rat thereafter had a knowingness, had a developmental defect, not a defect, an unevolved part of their consciousness, because they too operate with consciousness that didn't transfer into that next generation. It's like the Maslow's dog situation with the salivation, with the bell. They did this with a red dot for the rats. There's lots of studies. So I don't think that we are not a part of that. So here we are. We're working with clarity and intuition. It's so exciting. It's so exciting. That's not to say that this work is done if you've been working really hard at it. This isn't done. This comes with us. This is all a part of us, all these energy centers. So exciting, really, to know how much we can affect, with an A, our individual cells, our individual bodies. We can actually change our DNA. Epigenetically, we can change our DNA by our environment. By our environment, simple as our environment. So let's talk a little bit more about intuition. I love intuition. And you know, when you get those moments where you just know. What a great feeling that is. Nobody can come between me and my knowing. Because I know. I know I can't give you the facts, but I know. Because there's no facts that are relevant, perhaps, to some areas in which I'm talking about, that are scientifically proven. They are evidence-based, for sure. For sure, they're evidence-based. So we talked about intuition as the unconscious recognition of a pattern. This is where, if you're familiar with mandalas, actually I have, I gave my children when they were little mandala coloring books. And some parts of it weren't completed because they were quite intricate. And sometimes they just weren't into it because it took such a deep amount of focus. But there's a wonderful mandala exercise where you can ask yourself questions. And that's the purpose of mandalas, is that contemplation, is that curiosity, is that focus, this focus. And in the 8 limbs of yoga, it's called Dharana, Dhyana, and Samadhi. It's the top 3. They're often called the team of 3. That team of 3 is what allows us to evolve into more enlightenment, that more stillness, more emptiness. Because as you can appreciate, if this is full of chaos, what do you think our chances are? Your chances are of getting to clarity and intuition. And it is a journey. It is a journey. Like I said, when I finally came to a place of peace in here, it was like, wow, what's going on? And I had to find peace with the peace. That's not to say that my mind doesn't go into chaos sometimes, but I'll catch it. When I think the road is louder than it should be, you know, or when I'm focusing on the loudness of the road as opposed to the quietness of my mind, then I know that the chaos is building. When thoughts of the stories that I'm making up fill my mind in chaos, I can catch myself and say, wow, Deborah, that's a pretty intense conversation you're having with yourself. And then it's up to me to bring me back to that still point. It's up to you to bring you back to that still point. Oh, there it is. I had to wash my hanky from my great-great-grandma. So we talked about without intuition, we cannot grasp the whole of the essence of something. Why? Because we're leaving it up to the mind to capture the whole essence of something. I think that's a pretty dangerous proposition, to allow the mind, meaning the thoughts, our unconscious beliefs, which take up 95% of our processing. That 95% of the processing walks us in 70% of our lives spent in the sympathetic. That's the statistics. It's thought that 70% of our lives are spent in trauma, in a fight, flight, freeze environment. And often we create that for ourselves in our mind. So if we can bring ourselves into the stillness, the insight is in here, in that pituitary gland, in that pineal gland, in that hypothalamus, in all these wonderful operating systems. There are operating systems. We need the intuition to embrace the mystery that opens us up to the larger cosmic world. This is where we're going. We're in the celestial realm of the biofield. We're on the outer outskirts, although they come through. All layers of the biofield interact with the whole field. It's not like they are definitive layers. They are fluid structured from what we can sense. I'll show you. So one of the photographers, part of my training as an advanced integrative energy healer was I have a certificate of being tested. I can change the pH of water. I can have DC energy coming out of my hands. And then they did the Krillian test, where somebody would have their Krillian photo, energy photo taken prior to the healing and after the healing. And you would be able to see the different areas. So you see somewhere like this is a weak point in the energy field. So that allows other things to attach into the energy field. And the whole idea with that is to, in the healing, here's the healing one, you see, it's much thicker. Now it certainly hasn't come all the way out yet, but it's much thicker in reference to how things can attach, so to speak. It's like static electricity, right? When you have that friction and you put the balloon on your hair, and then it can stick on a wall. You see how that's the same stickability as it is in your biofield. So when we have our intuition at a strong level, we have better spidey senses. Does that make sense? And meditation is our best way to get to this comfort level with this emptiness in the void. And even, you'll be surprised with what may show up, because this also our area of clairvoyance. Clairvoyance, where we clearly can see. And some people have the ability to clearly see forward, I believe. We have an opportunity to transcend. So what is meant by transcend? We transcend from the physical world of time and space and enter the non-physical, the non-linear. We made up what time is. We put labels to what time was and is. We developed that. So what is available past this concept, this linear thinking in the third dimension? What is past that? That is for you and I to experience, to journey, to become curious about and see what shows up. It's like the patterns and the symbols that will start to show up in your life that maybe I was or you are ignorant to. Not because you're ignorant, in the form of just not knowing, not paying attention. After my mom passed, she lived at 757 was her address for her whole life. And my ancestors built that house in 1911 when they came over from Scotland. And after she passed, I started seeing 757 everywhere. And now when I see it, I say, "Hi, Mom." But maybe before 757 was showing up because the ancestors maybe were sending that message in numbers. I can't say for sure. All I can notice is become more aware of my surroundings and my environment. And I choose to see the love. I choose to find the love. If someone's acting out, I choose to see their pain as opposed to their disappointment, disagreement, dislike, or disassociation, distaste. You know, there's a whole bunch of things. Or hate. Choose not to use that word, but sometimes it's evident. But then it's pain. It's pain. In the end of the day, it's pain. Because I believe in order to hate, you have to know what love was or is. You've just got a block. It's just blocked for now. And hopefully in this lifetime, we can work through a lot of those blocks so we can live in a higher vibration. In the supra consciousness, the higher self. So we've got the consciousness, we've got the subconsciousness, and we've got the supra consciousness. Lots to work with. So it says Chakra, I'm reading, again, I'm referencing Anadea Judith in her book because I love her dearly. And so she says that chakras 6 and 7, so that's the ajna, the element of the celestial body, and 7, sahasrara, together correspond to the area of Carl Jung, who's studied this for years and years and years, and is quite astute in his studies and his findings. So that are called the superconsciousness, or others have called transcendent, transpersonal, and cosmic consciousness. So if you see those things, they're all referenced as the same thing, just different terminologies. Just like we have the third eye, the brow chakra, the ajna, different words and labels for different areas. Sort of every person that studies it and writes a book often puts their own tag to it. So that's where we're going. That's where we are. And let's go into our meditation. Sorry to take us back. It's 9 o'clock. And go into our mantra meditation for 2 minutes and be together in this space. And I invite you to bring in that so hum. Inhale on the so and exhale on the hum. And take yourself into this vast, vast ocean, this vast space. And check in with yourself to see if it's getting any clearer. Is there less chaos? Is the do not disturb sign working? Are you catching yourself? Do you get booted out more often? Do you get booted out less often? Are you having less headaches? Does your head feel lighter? Do your eyes feel clearer? How's your sinuses? How's the tension in your jaw? Do you press your tongue really tightly on the top of the roof of your mouth regularly? Let it relax. Let the tongue relax. Let's bring our feet down into the central core of the earth. And with gratitude and love for Mother Earth's grounding and nurturing, allow us to stand. Allow us to feel safe and know that we are safe. I am here. I am safe. I trust my decisions. Bring that Mother Earth energy, the red frequency energy, up to both bottoms of the feet. Feel those 4 points on your feet. Spread your toes like little yoga toes and let them grasp onto the floor. Bring it into the ankles and the calves. Allow it to wash over the knees, healing the knees. Permission to heal as we do this. Whatever needs to be healed in this moment in time. Offer it up. Offer it up. Mitochondrias, eat up those, free radicals. Those different cells. Bring it into the hips. Wash over that pelvic area, those hip joints, into the lower abdomen. Let's expand that breath on the inhalation. And feel the deliciousness. It's more nourishing than breakfast, I always say. I say that to the kids. They're like, oh, Mom. And allow the exhalation. Take with it which does not serve me. Breathe in that oxygenation as we breathe up that Mother Earth energy into our lungs. Oxygenate those lungs, open it, expand. Expand, because if you're watching any part of the news, there's vicarious trauma in everything that is existing today. In the two different pandemics, a pandemic with the coronavirus and the humanity virus. Allow that expansion. Let's stand for the expansion of love in the world and oneness as we breathe it in and roll our shoulders back and down our arms into our hands. Allow it to come up through the gateway of the neck and into the head, coming out the top of Sahasrara. Give it a tap. Open that portal to allow that Mother Earth energy to come down and wash over your body, and see if you can feel it on the nerve endings. And this is a multifaceted process to ensure that we're engaging our sensory, and we're engaging it. And some days we'll get these truth bumps, and some days we may not feel anything. But that's good information. The body is giving you information that perhaps we're turning down, you're turning down, I'm turning down my sensory. Perhaps I'm creating a block to that which I don't want to see or believe. And we come back into this centering, this still point for our body. Rock the body and find where that is as we prepare to engage the hairline down into the center core of the earth. This etheric line again that allows, it's like a highway, a super highway. As we ask as we direct it up to divine creator source energy. It's on a path. We're sending it on a directive path, no different than the recent NASA launch. The rocket is, we're sending out rockets of Abraham Hicks calls it rockets of desire, actually. I'll reference that work. And allow that beautiful golden white light energy to come down that superhighway and open that Sahasrara. It's a vortex. We're working with vortexes of energy. Wherever two nerve plexus cross, that energy creates a vortex. And it can be many different mini vortexes in our bodies. We're working with the major vortexes in our body, the seen and measured vortexes on our human organism. And let's breathe it into the head and wash, let that energy wash over, and say, please offer me the clarity and intuition that I seek as a seer of my own work. And as I work with myself, I work with all. As I heal myself, I heal all. And bring it into the gateway, into the throat. Allow it to bathe all those fine-tuned tendrils, muscles, ligaments that hold up this head that doesn't really have its own still point unless we consciously bring it to it. And into the shoulders and the arms and the hands, so that we can work with love, grace, and compassion at all times, and into the chest and into the third chakra, the fire, the passion, and healing the grief and healing the fear, and into the emotional watery section of the body, the lower abdomen area, and into the root chakra, that highly vulnerable area that has hundreds of years of potential abuse, but also hundreds of years of potential bliss. And into the legs as we wash it internally, this golden white light. And you know, these colors, you can breathe these colors in at any time when we're working with the felt sense. Check in and see if there's somewhere in the body that has got their hand up and saying, pick me, pay attention to me right now and right here. Wherever that may be. Let's just take a moment at that spot. Put your hand on that spot, wherever it may be. If it's in the back body, that's often our lineage. So you can reference that from the front side of the body. And go into Soham. When you breathe in, let's work with that golden white light. Breathing that golden white light in for healing. Another color that's coming up for me right now is an effervescent green healing light. Let's breathe in some green healing light as we go into the Soham. On the inhale, beautiful green effervescent light as on the So. Feeling the air on the nostrils, that cool breath coming into the body. And on the exhale and the hum, allowing whatever it is that does not serve our highest and greatest good to leave. And feeling the warmth of that breath on the nostril. Inhaling So. Exhaling hum. Inhaling So. Exhaling hum. One slow, complete breath in and out. No noise. No pause. No jerks. And no judgment. Thank you so much for being here with me today and sitting in this quiet time together. I invite you to stay and carry on into your mantra. Sit a little longer. Open your eyes slowly. Stand up slowly. And pay attention to your intuition. See what shows up. Write it down in a journal. See what thoughts are coming up. Ask, what do I need to know right now? What do I need to do right now? And Thy will. What are you requesting from me right now? As we go into our offering with the Mother cards, the divine guidance for the light within, as we're in the light element. And I tune in my spidey senses as to which card is calling. Pick me. Trust. Trust the meaning making. Trust your intuition. The grace is infinite for him who sincerely trusts the grace. I'd say intuition is a good form of grace. Keep a cool head, strong and very quiet nerves, and a complete trust in the divine grace. Trust. The grace is infinite for him, her, they, their, who sincerely trusts the grace. So once you bring in doubt, do you still have the same trust? Keep a cool head, strong and very quiet nerves, ground center and align. That's calming and regulating our nervous system. And the mantra meditation, calming and regulating our nervous system, and our actual regulating of our feet and our hands. Very quiet nerves and a complete trust in the divine grace. By quieting the nervous system, we quiet the mind. We come into the parasympathetic nervous system, our place of clarity and intuition, and where we can make grounded, centered, and aligned decisions. I love you. Trust you. You're doing the work. Step into trusting you and make it a great day. See you tomorrow.